This is my entire system for how I started getting clients on LinkedIn, and it's updated for 2025, and we're gonna go through step by step. And I built this system from scratch to get my own first 10 clients without wasting hours on LinkedIn, just guessing what to do next and chasing leads aimlessly. And before I built this system, I wasted so much time, days and weeks, just randomly messaging random people who were never going to buy. And I'd forget follow-ups. I'd let these deals just slip through the cracks. And I tried writing next steps on notebooks and post-it notes. But at the end of the day, I had no clients. Does that sound familiar at all? Well, this is the exact process I now use daily. And today you're going to get the full breakdown of how it works. And it's the same system that over 50 founders from our program have used to start booking their first 10 clients. And here are their results so that you could see that this isn't theory. This is exactly what works at this stage when you're looking to start getting your first 10 clients. And this system is going to take advantage of all of those unscalable techniques to get you started as soon as possible. So if you have over 100 clients, this just isn't for you. This system's 100% dialed in to help new founders start to get the fastest and lowest cost conversations with potential ideal clients. And that makes it the perfect system for starting a new offer. But if you're looking to scale an offer that you've already sold hundreds of times, there are better systems out there for that scenario. And this system is built specifically for coaches, consultants, or service providers, basically people with a knowledge-based service that can deliver that to people who are on LinkedIn. And it's for them to start getting their first 10 clients. So by the end of this video, you'll have the exact system that I use on LinkedIn to find leads, automate the outreach, and then to close those deals. Plus, before the end, you're going to get my new founder toolkit, which is a paid asset from our program. And it includes all of the tools and workflows, which we're going to go over today with links to everything. So you don't even need to take notes. So let's go ahead and break it down step by step. And the system has 4 simple stages. Stage number 1 is we got to find people. Stage number 2 is we need to find a way to contact them. Number 3 is we got to close them, as in sell to them. And stage number 4 is we got to fulfill on those services. We got to deliver them to the clients. And the first tool that we need to find the right people is Sales Navigator. Next, Drippify is going to help us to contact those people. Next up, the close section has a few tools, including Make, which is going to connect everything so that data just flows seamlessly into our CRM, which stands for Client Relationship Management Tool. And the CRM that we recommend is Pipedrive. And don't worry at this stage if that's a new term, we're going to unpack that shortly. Next up, Surfe keeps your CRM data completely up to date with all of the latest changes, and LinkedIn is the social platform where all of these conversations are happening. Next up, Stripe. You're going to need a way to collect payment when people are ready to pay you. And once we have closed a client and they have paid us, fulfillment needs to begin, and we use School to start delivering our services. And before we jump in, yes, of course, these apps all have their own costs, and we have taken every single measure to make sure that you get the most cost and time effective tools that are available. But we need to stop thinking like W2 brained employees and start thinking like entrepreneurs and business owners. Employees are trading time for money, and entrepreneurs buy back their time so that they can scale. I used to waste hours on tasks that a $50 tool could just automate. And that meant that I was paying myself less than minimum wage for solutions that were just readily available on the market. And that was just plain stupid because if you refuse to invest in tools that save time, then you're not running a business, you're just running yourself into the ground. Plus, if your earning potential is over $100 per hour, which for most of my viewers, if you've been in the corporate world and you've already built up all your skills, then you're likely well beyond that. Then this system just needs to save you a few hours a month to have completely paid for itself. And some of these apps don't save you a few hours a month, they save you a few hours a day. And if it gets you just one client, it's like paid for itself for the year, right? So we, again, need to start thinking like entrepreneur and not miss the forest for the trees. So let's begin with Sales Navigator, which is where we build a high quality leads list that actually turns into clients. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is an add-on to LinkedIn's free license, which allows you to go far above and beyond with searching and filtering so you can find leads that are very specific and qualified for your services. So the best way to do that is over here under lead filters. And I have a separate video that goes further into this part right here, so go ahead and check that out. But I'm gonna move kind of quick on this example here. Now, your view might be collapsed like that. Go ahead and expand it so that you could see all of the filters that are available to us at one time. And let's go ahead and put on a hat and all of us imagine that our offer is to sell digital data dashboards and analytics services into marketing teams like marketing agencies or marketing teams at software startups. So now that we're on the same page of what our offer is, it's going to make sense why I'm filling in these fields like I am. So first of all, we're going to need to know what part of the market we serve. And in this case, let's say that we served businesses that are as small as 11 in size all the way up to 500 in size. But if they're any smaller or any larger, then they're just not good candidates for our services. And the reason we use this field instead is because businesses just don't publish their revenues, publicly. So now that we have that filtered down, we're next going to skip past to geography and go for United States. And as I choose these filters, I want you to keep an eye on what's happening up here on the size of the leads list. And we're up to 38 million results, which is obviously far too many. Now, what I'm actually aiming for is at least in the high hundreds, but at most in the low thousands. And that's because any smaller and we burn through the list way too quickly, or any larger and it's too unmanageable, we never really finish it, and there's probably a lot of junky data inside of it. So that's what we're going to be aiming for. Next up, we're going to go for current job title. And let's say that we wanted all permutations of marketing heads and growth marketing. So give me a second to type that in. Awesome. So I've gone ahead and typed in a number of current job titles from people who would be interested in my services. Of course, that's going to vary on a case by case basis. And next up, we're going to want to filter this down to just the industries that we serve, right? Are these marketers in automotive or nail salons or who knows what, right? Construction. So we want to narrow that down by industry. Now, the industry field is preset by LinkedIn. You can't just put in whatever you want in here. So in this case, I'm going to go with the tried and true software development so that I can get some startups in there. And I'm also going to do marketing services so I can get marketing agencies. Now you'll notice that the size of my lead list is a little large. So what other options do we have to make sure that we get this within the range? Well, we can look for keywords, and this search bar right here will allow you to put in what are known as Boolean search operators, and we're going to create a quick search string. So I've gone ahead and added in analytics or reporting, and now it's looking for either one of these terms. You'll notice that we're down to about 5,000 results now. And you can also exclude some other phrases that you don't want. So you could say not, and then say like Kajabi. Let's say that Kajabi is just a platform that if they have, you just can't help these people. And there's probably not a lot of people that have that in their profile, but there's probably a handful. And even though it didn't look like it changed the results, it's rounding these, and maybe it did remove a few people that we were never going to speak with anyway. And side note, nothing wrong with Kajabi. It's a flying platform. So with that, it's still just a bit too much. Next up, what I can do is I can call this list down by post it on LinkedIn. And I like this because when I have too many leads, this shows me which ones are active. Or to get a little morbid, I at least know these people haven't died, or at least not within the last few, I don't know, weeks or so from whenever they posted. So if nothing else, these people have at least shown a sign of life, and I can assume that they're using their profile and that they're on LinkedIn pretty actively and regularly. And next up, what I want to do is just copy the URL right out of the browser window right here. Your browser might look a little different. Just make sure that you go ahead and copy that right out of the address bar. Next up, we're going to head into Drippify, and Drippify is going to help you to automate outreach without getting flagged as spam. Now, warning, you do need to use it at your own risk because it operates in the gray area. LinkedIn certainly doesn't want you automating, but what we do is keep you safe from those LinkedIn monitors by using something called activity control. So let me show you what that is. Activity control is a feature that you can enable inside of Drippify, which is going to emulate the human aspects of how you use their platform. And here's the thing, For every single founder that we've put through our program and everyone that I've seen use this app, I've literally never seen anybody get flagged when they're using this program with the license that allows you to use activity control. That is the top tier license, or they're like up and pro, I think it is, license, which includes this feature. But the takeaway being that it just works, right? I've used a number of different platforms that have automation. I have seen those become an issue as they hit the limit of how much you can send, but this keeps you safe and well within those limits. I've never had trouble with it myself. Again, use at your own risk. So next up in the dashboard, you could see some of the real world results that we're seeing from acceptance and reply. And outbound cold email marketers just froth at the mouth for a fraction of these kinds of results because they're using spray and pray tactics instead of showing people that we know them and approaching them like a human, right? They get that pitch slap on the very first message and then they just get sent right to the spam folder. And here's how we keep you out of it. It's basically by helping to scale you up as the human instead of just pitch slapping people with cringy spam breath emails. This does include emails, but it's primarily a direct message automation platform. So if you recall, we just copied that URL from Sales Navigator. And what we're going to do is create a new campaign. And as we need to add leads into it, because this is going to ask you, well, who do you want to contact? All we have to do is go ahead and paste that link right there. And you'll notice that those 1,000-ish profiles that I had found are now going to get loaded right into Drippily for automatic contact. And next up, we want to go ahead and use one of the templates that we've built. Now, there are some in the box. I've never once used them. Instead, we have some pre-built templates. And let's just go ahead and bring up one of our most recent ones so you could see what a sequence can look like. Now, you're welcome to screenshot this if you find it useful to see how we work through it. I'm going to talk through it. But at the top, you have view profile, wait some period of time, and then send an invite message. And then there's two branches. If they have not accepted, what do we do? And if they have accepted, what do we do? Right? And then don't get too caught up with this exact campaign, because truly what you want to do is tailor it for what works in your world, for your offer, and for the outcome that you're looking to produce with your campaign. So again, this is just one of our campaigns. We've seen far simpler ones be very, very effective. So again, don't get caught up in what all is going on with this campaign. Well, we basically send a sequence of messages with different actions that are going to emulate you using your own LinkedIn profile to view and like and interact with these people's profiles, and then sending very specific messages that are tailored to what we're saying at that point in time and why. And then once we run through this, the purpose of this, which is where everybody screws up, is they're trying to close with the automation, as in they want to just pitch slap and win the deal. But the job of the robot is to get somebody talking so that you can do the closing, and we show you how to do all of that. But once you have that whole campaign built out and you have your sequence reaching out to people, people are going to start to accept your connection requests and interact with you. And that's where Make comes in. So once you're logged into Make, you're going to see a dashboard that looks something like this one here. And we're going to head over into scenarios. Now, you're not going to have any scenarios here, so you're just going to go ahead and create a new scenario. And from here, we're going to use the type webhooks. Now, side note, if you don't know what a webhook is, that's just a quick mechanism that's kind of like saying, the address 123 Elm Street, right? It creates this virtual 123 Elm Street address where now we can ask Drippily, hey, wouldn't it be nice that every single time an event happened, you sent that packet of information over to 123 Elm Street? Just send a copy. So what it does is exactly that. Every time someone accepts a connection request from you, it sends that data packet over to the quote 123 Elm Street webhook, and that allows Make, who is just conveniently at 123 Elm Street, to receive that package and then say, cool, got it from here. I am going to then take this information from Drippily and do something with it. So let's go ahead and show you how to create that. And don't get too caught up with the technical stuff here. Just go ahead and follow along. You really can't miss this up. So we're going to hit add a webhook, and we're going to call it the accepted connection request Drippily webhook. And you'll notice that that created a string, which we can then copy into the clipboard. So we're going to head back into Drippily, and on Drippily, we're going to open up a campaign. Now, this could be any campaign that you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and borrow this one here. And in here, we're going to head into the settings of the campaign, and we're going to choose when do we want to push data. And my recommendation is after a connection request is accepted, because at that point in time, that person has raised their hand and said, Diego, something about what you are doing seems interesting to me. And that's where their journey begins. And that's where we're going to paste that webhook that we got from make earlier. And we can do a quick test and you'll notice that that worked fine. So then we can return back to make, and we're going to go ahead and finish building this integration. So next up, we need to hit save here and then add another module, and we're going to choose Pipedrive CRM. And specifically, we need to talk about what a person is and what a lead is in Pipedrive so that this makes sense. A person is a human being. There can only be one Bob Smith, but Bob Smith can be interested in your product A, in your product B, or your product C. However, Bob can also say, I'm interested in product A, and then say, I'm not going to buy, and then come back to it at a later time, and then say, I'm interested in product A again. So the point being that a person is an individual, and a lead is that individual's interest in some of your services, if that makes sense. And we won't get into deal. That's once they've signed up for a call and they're in our pipeline. But for now, we just need person and lead. So we're going to go ahead and say create a person. And now we need permission to talk to the Pipedrive API. And we're going to bring up Pipedrive real fast to show you where you can get that information. So now we've gone ahead and configured the Pipedrive CRM create a person as well as create a lead. So let me show you what that looks like. With our API token loaded up in here, you'll notice that I went with first name and last name from the webhook. So in other words, we got from Drippify, hey, what's the first name and last name so that I can create a person record? And the owner record, you can do a search, but that's basically a unique ID for the individual or the person who owns that person record. And notice how we loaded their email and phone numbers. And look at this format. If empty, then if not empty, use the email from the webhooks. But if empty on the email field, then go ahead and use the value unknown. And why this works is if we don't specify to this computer like, hey, sometimes you're going to get some empty fields in there, it would otherwise throw an error and be like, I don't know what to do with this lead. You told me I was going to have an email in here and I didn't get an email. So it just kind of breaks. So this allows it to fail, but then continue and just write the word unknown when I don't get the email. And we want to do that for any values that are kind of dynamic or that might not sometimes be in there. So I've done that for the email, for the phone number, and for the LinkedIn URL. Most of the time we have that, but it doesn't matter if the few times that we don't, we can still save the lead. And we're gonna go ahead and hit save. And from there, we're gonna next create the lead record, which we talked about inside of Pipedrive. I've already gone ahead and configured this. So of course, we already have our API token loaded from before, and we're pulling in the first name and last name from the webhook. And we've already established that I am the owner of that lead, so it should have my name in there. You should see your name in there. And then under the person, you'll notice that this one's gray because it's actually coming from Pipedrive, the person ID that we created here. So now this lead is linked to that person record automatically inside of your CRM. Pretty neat, huh? I've left the organization blank. You can put this, but the reason I prefer it blank is that sometimes somebody has like 4 or 5 different companies that they're like active experience in, even sometimes like volunteering or they're in a board or something. So it can create a scenario where I accidentally get the wrong business in here. Now I have to clean that record up. So I'd rather have nothing and then put it in myself if relevant than to sometimes have bad data that's confusing. So that's why I've gone ahead and left that blank. I don't at this point in time see value in specifying a potential value, but you certainly can, as well as close date. And next up, a best practice is to leave the lead visible to the entire company, because as you grow and scale and bring on people into your team, you're eventually going to want them to be able to see the same leads and to work them as well. You definitely want to leave the was seen empty because if you're like me, I like to see which leads are new so that I can go in and label them and work them. And this does that. It keeps it kind of like unread looking, right, in bold inside of your CRM. Deal source, I have pre-configured this and I have selected Dripify outbound, and that's the correct setting for myself there. So go ahead and save all of that. And then last but not least, you want this pro tip here, which is you want it to update every 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Either one is fine. Any more, and I find that it starts to trade off like too many updates, and the cost on the Make platform, how it works is the more data it moves and the more times it updates, then it starts to consume these like credits that they provide you, 20,000 credits. And then once you start to go beyond that, now they're asking you to pay because you're hammering their platform, right? So 1 minute would be nice, but at the same time, every 10 minutes is pretty fast, and you can see messages come in real time on LinkedIn. So it's okay if like the lead record gets created with like a slight lag or slight delay. It's not the end of the world. I found 10 minutes to be the sweet spot for myself, and it keeps costs nominal. Next up, we're going to go ahead and then show you how all of these lead records are getting created inside of Pipedrive and how to work them from there. Now here we are on Pipedrive using the leads inbox, and here you can see all of the leads that have come in, some of the ones that we've managed to label since they've been coming in. Most of these are from February 10th, 11th, and 12th, so we are a little bit behind in labeling and categorizing some of our leads. And here you could see what it's like once we have the labels already configured, showing you which clients are qualified or above and beyond qualified, which ones are ICPs, which are ideal client profiles. For us, dollars means that we can make dollars in their business. Therefore, we are valuable to them based off of something in their profile. Like they've said on their post, they're like, hey, it would be great if I got clients, or something to that effect. Like, I just started my business and I need help. And if they're signaling publicly that they would get value from what we do, then we label that in here so that we can see, hey, this is somebody who's responded in pain, would get value, right? And we could then go ahead and pursue those people above and beyond all other ones. And you'll notice that we also tag not our ICP so that we can improve the quality of our leads list, which is something we'll talk about in a moment with Surfe. And my process for this is basically to come in and filter by labels and say, hey, who are all the clients who are showing pain? And why don't I only focus on these? And you'll notice that the updated time on these are all pretty up to date in terms of like, these are the people that we keep focus and we keep working, and we make sure that we don't let those slip too much, because if they're raising their hand and saying, hey, I need help, then the question should be like, why aren't every one of these our customers, right? And you should look at it the same. If today you're doing this all manually and responding to everybody individually, that gets extremely, extremely hard to keep up with when you're using notes and emails and reminders and maybe meeting appointments and all of that just to track who you're going to contact next. You need a client relationship management tool that's going to help you to work through these leads and to label them so that you're always focusing on the highest priority ones, not just always grasping at straws and chasing the very latest things, but instead chasing the ones that are the highest value and highest likelihood to close, so that those ones don't slip through the crack and you make the most out of every single lead that's coming through your system. And as a side note, Pipedrive does so much more than just track your leads. You can contact them, you can track activities, you can integrate it with a host of other applications. You can create booking links like a Calendly is built in. It's got automations. You can create campaigns. You can run web forms and more. I'm not covering all of that at this point in time just because it goes above and beyond what we can cover in a single video. It would take just a whole series of videos to even talk about the value of Pipedrive. Just know that Pipedrive is going to be the best tool for this stage of your journey, for making it easy and seamless to know which deals to work with, how much you're closing. It even has reporting and analytics and more. And speaking of tools that integrate with Pipedrive, one of them is called Surfe. And you'll notice that I have it up here loaded right into my LinkedIn. And how Surfe works is that it's basically a Chrome extension or plugin that is going to layer on top of LinkedIn and give you additional functionality. So I'm just going to pull up a random conversation here and then show you what's going on with Surfe. Now you'll notice that first of all, I can label my leads right from in here. directly into Pipedrive. So these are not Surf labels. These are the same labels that I'm using inside of Pipedrive, as well as synchronize the chat. Now, why syncing the chat is so underrated is that it makes it where with a single button push, I don't need to tab over to Pipedrive and say, I just had a conversation with Michael. And all the time that would have taken and the flow breaking, it's such a massive time saver. And then it also keeps your records up to date. So then that way you can immediately sort by which leads have been updated or which ones need to be updated and haven't been contacted in just seconds instead of spending minutes. So you're getting like more than like a 1 to 30 ROI in terms of your time. Just clicking that one time is going to save you so much time. When you sync these chats into your Pipedrive, you'll notice that happens real fast, and now you're synced. Same thing with labeling these ones. If I just want to come in here and choose one of these, I could easily do that. Next up, let's go in and show you the contact enriching options that are in here. So you'll notice that Surf has this additional add-on in here, and it might or might not find some information right from the jump. And how Surf works is that you can get a number of credits depending on what you need in your plan that will allow you to enrich contacts above and beyond what's already available. So let's say, for example, if I don't have somebody's mobile number, maybe I can use one of these credits to find this information. It goes ahead and it searches all of these different providers of data to see if it could find it. And look at that. It found the email and a mobile number, which we're going to keep anonymous to protect Michael. But here we have that information quick and easy to generate. And an absolutely underrated way to use Surf is with the data that they provide you. So down here, you'll notice that I have top industries, and all of the accounts that Surf is managing is going to basically look at where are my leads coming from. And you'll notice that my biggest column here is 130 records from business and consulting services. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. But then when I check these other pretty big ones, I'm like, IT services and consulting, that makes sense. But then hold on, 47 records from software development, which just quickly eyeballing it, maybe that's somewhere around 20% of the leads. Now, let's just say if there was a 0% chance, which there is, that I can work with people who are building apps or doing SaaS and they're in the software development industry, I want to just filter these completely out from all of my leads list. So what I would do is take this data and say, oh man, I'm accidentally catching people from the wrong industries inside of my leads list somehow, and then exclude these leads lists from my Sales Navigator leads list searches. Do you see how that works? And that's going to allow me to then increase my close rate by the amount of leads that we just took out that we were 0% ever going to close. We're now going to replace those with leads that we might close because we were wasting time reaching out to all of these wrong people. So don't sleep on that. This is one of those long, boring ways that ends up making you tons of money when you apply it as a discipline. Next, let's say that they're ready to buy. And if you don't have a way to collect payment when they're ready to pay you, that significantly decreases your chances of winning the customer. Yes, they're not the cheapest option, but Stripe has an awesome support. It's super robust and it's integrated into some of the biggest platforms out there. And it also gives your buyers confidence when they see Stripe. They're like, okay, that's legit because Stripe only works with legit businesses. So go ahead and open up Stripe and then head over to this payment links section. And how this works is basically you can create any number of links for your services and then click on that link. And in real time, at the point of sale on the call, you could just copy this link and then send that to your buyer. And then it's going to show them a checkout page where you could have a summary. You could put your terms of services. You can also have them pay through any number of different methods of payment. And what I like to do is the two-step process. And I set that expectation up really early so that it's not like they thought that they're getting double charged or anything like that. But basically, you let them know as soon as they pay for this, that's when fulfillment begins and they'll get the link to join school, and that's going to have an additional fee. And that's because I have implementation separate from the ongoing maintenance and the school platform fees. Speaking of school, let's go ahead and jump over there now. And here we are in school. And the one thing that you're going to want to know about this is that you're going to want to deliver immediate value. That's a metric called TTV, which stands for time to value. It's one of the best predictors that from the point somebody pays to the point that they start getting value, that you shorten this gap as much as possible, because that's going to keep them out of that, crossing that threshold from buyer's remorse and then saying, you know what, I don't think this is for me, or also from just canceling later down the road and ultimately not getting results. We do want our clients to get results, and this is why we begin fulfillment right away. And it also helps you during the close. If you're like, oh yeah, once you jump on, I'm going to give you an onboarding right now on this call. It also saves you from your fulfillment cost, because if you needed a whole separate onboarding call just to get them started, that costs you time. And that might be another 30 minutes that you need a budget, when you can make it just 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the sales call and keep it super short and sweet. And that's going to save you so much more time in getting people started, as well as increase the gross profit per customer by having people that stay subscribed longer, because they're more likely to start getting value. And then I also use the school automated feature, which looks just like this, where you start to get these chats or DMs inside of the app. You can automate it where when somebody joins, you send them a video giving them an onboarding of the platform. Now, if you've never used School before and this is new to you, I basically focus on showing the clients the 3 C's, which are community, classroom, and calendar. You could see those 3 C's up here at the top. And how that works in our own program is in the community. You see the feed where people are sharing their wins, like getting their first testimonial clients, people showing updates on their progress. I show pro tips like how I boost sales by up to 391% with Make. You see people introducing themselves, recordings, and more. So this is how we use the community tab in our world. There are also these labels here which show you what it's like when you switch over to each one of these, and you can see the wins and more. And then the classroom is how you deliver your content. In our world, this is how we deliver our digital assets, our videos, and everything is designed to go in order. In fact, we're going to switch over right into the sales pipeline builder. And here is the new founder toolkit, which you're going to be able to download as a part of this video. So quick little side note to go ahead and go into the description and pull up this link, and you're going to see a file just like this one here. So once you're in the new founder toolkit, it includes everything you need, like monthly price, the links to get started to every one of these tools, and more. There's even a bonus video at the end with an absolutely full breakdown showing you how to start getting clients, which we've included as a bonus. So please do not miss that. I want to reward you guys for sticking through to the end. And for anybody who made it here as an absolute bonus, we have our free mini course, which is going to help you get started on getting clients. It's just a few videos that we've curated and put together of all the content that has helped the most people. So go ahead and grab those documents and links from inside of the description of this video. If you're interested at all, you do have my contact information in the document or in the description if you did want to book a call and get our help on any of this. But if you're not ready for that just yet, we did include the playlist into the free mini course that's going to help you to start getting your clients. So go ahead and check those out. And when you're ready, you can also book a call with me today.